All right, this is lesson number 127. There is no love but God's. And I'm going to give you a couple yoga movements, Avita shapes to do here. The first will be lying on your back with your knees bent, your feet flat on the floor. And then if you have a belt or a strap or scarf, anything will do. We just need it to be folded up so it's about shoulder width apart. We hold it overhand up toward the ceiling. You feel your feet on the floor. You feel your spine open up onto the floor, both long ways and width ways. A long, broad backside against the floor. And you can even press your feet into the floor slightly to feel the low back move toward the floor and the belly starts to hollow out some. Again, encouraging the broad, long quality of your spine against the floor. Firm your grip on the strap. Tug on it a little bit as if to tear it apart and press toward the ceiling. The feet press the floor, the low back melts toward the floor, and you slowly arc your arms overhead toward the floor. And as you lower the arms, we're just looking for the point of restriction. Where is it? It could be just a few inches back. It could be a few inches off the floor. Somewhere along the line, most of us bump into the shoulder restriction. Bumping into the shoulder restriction is analogous to bumping into the judgments and grievances that we hold in our hearts and minds. It's all a restriction to the liberation of the mind. And it's our yoga to welcome these kinds of blockages. It's how the physical yoga has evolved. It's a subset of the yoga we do in mind. You bump into it and you have the inner physiology to dissolve and unwind and basically effect the changes that increase mobility and decrease joint pain. This is one of the many moves we use to free up the shoulders. And then when we raise up, we kind of diminish the effort. We let the shoulders sink into the floor and we float the arms back up toward the ceiling. So as I read the lesson today, you can have one or two or three of those. Just pace yourself, have a nice rest in between. And then if you have a bolster, I love these long 28-inch bolsters or so. If you have a bolster to support your whole spine, okay, from the tailbone to the back of the head, then lie back on a bolster. Open your arms out toward a T shape. Again, knees bent, feet on the floor. You can open the palms, open the fingers, and slowly turn your head to one side and then the other, and then back to the center and rest. You can have those movements a couple times. You can also have the palms down toward the floor. It's a whole different movement. Palms down, and then make the slow, thoughtful head turns, bumping in to the resistance. That's all we do is we hold the resistance to the light. And when in doubt, find a comfortable position and rest and open your heart and mind to the love and light we share. Lesson number 127. There is no love but God's. Perhaps you think that different kinds of love are possible. I love these lines in the Course that open up with the word perhaps. Perhaps you think. So kind and such a gentle little nudge. Perhaps you think there is a kind of love for this, a kind for that, a way of loving one, another way of loving still another. Love is one. It has no separate parts and no degrees, no kinds nor levels, no divergencies, and no distinctions. It is like itself, unchanged throughout. It never alters with a person or a circumstance. It is the heart of God and also of his Son. One love. Bob Marley knew about one love. He sang about it. There's a movie about his life called One Love. One love, one light, one truth, with no opposite. And what does the ego want to do but create special kinds of love? A certain kind of love for this, a certain kind of love for that. We have best friends and not so best friends and people that we like and don't like. See, infinite variations on love is how the ego obscures the truth. Paragraph 2. Love's meaning is obscure to anyone who thinks that love can change. He does not see that changing love must be impossible, and thus he thinks that he can love at times and hate at other times. He also thinks that love can be bestowed on one and yet remain itself, although it is withheld from others. To believe these things of love is not to understand it. If it could make such distinctions, it would have to judge between the righteous and the sinner and perceive the Son of God in separate parts. So this idea of love often brings up the, the seeming variations in love that we have for certain family members and people outside of the family. So there's a special love for people within the family and a special love for those without. And there's deep yoga, there's deep work to realize there is only one love. And how can I love a family member the same as I love a pet, or the same as I love someone walking across the street? There's a sameness that we ultimately want to look for. Not easy because special love really can have a grip on us. But it's all a practice. It's all an unwinding. And the prayer could be, I just want to see the sameness in everything. I want to see the same love, the same light in all. This is the practice of namaste. You've heard the word namaste. It's a salutation used in both a greeting. When you meet someone, it's a thank you. It's a departure from being in someone's presence. I just happened to get back from a 3-week trip to Nepal, and wow, the word namaste is used a lot, almost always with the hands at the heart and bright, shiny, sparkly eyes. There's been some practice along the way when the namaste is so clean and clear and the sparkle in the eyes. Paragraph 3, love cannot judge. As it is one itself, it looks on all as one. It is from oneness that we see oneness. What a beautiful thing. We can kind of work backwards and find the oneness that is the truth we share. Its meaning lies in oneness, and it must elude the mind that thinks of it as partial or in part. There is no love but God's, and all of love is His. There is no other principle that rules where love is not. Love is a law without an opposite. Its wholeness is the power holding everything as one, the link between the Father and the Son, which holds them both forever as the same. There's a brief description of heaven. Heaven is the state of mind in which the, the, the love of God is extended to the Son. And there can be no Son without a Father. So there's a perfect uh, giving and receiving of love simultaneously. And that's how love grows. We could think of the mind like a basketball or a big sphere, and on the surface is the body and the surface of form and time and space, but within the mind is pure love, and it's pushing, it's growing out, it just wants to bubble up, but the ego presses it back down with specialness and special love and special hate and special circumstances. But we can't keep it down, and it just leaks through. It comes through someone's sparkly eyes, it comes through a smile, it comes through a glimmer on the ocean water. It comes through as a ray of sunshine. It comes through as a butterfly floating by, or the a bird in flight. It comes through all kinds of ways. These are God's gifts just coming through. And so as we recognize them, we can acknowledge them and smile and let ourselves be lifted up. There's not a second or moment in a 24-hour day where there's not some sign of love coming through. And that's what true hope is. When we look for it, we will find it. And we look for it in our hearts and minds. That's where it's found, but it's reflected in the world around us. No course whose purpose is to teach you to remember what you really are could fail to emphasize that there can never be a difference in what you really are and what love is. So many ways to say it. It's so beautiful. Love's meaning is your own and shared by God Himself. For what you are is what He is. God is love, therefore, so am I. There is no limit placed upon Himself, and so are you unlimited as well. No law the world obeys can help you grasp love's meaning. What the world believes was made to hide love's meaning and to keep it dark and secret. That's what I was talking about. Everything the world believes, to believe in the world and endorse time and space, is to hide the love. We want to suppress and repress it. What the world believes was made to hide love's meaning and to keep it dark and secret. There is not one principle the world upholds but violates the truth of what love is and what you are as well. And this is why the Course asks us to bring all of our preferences and our judgments and all of our values have to come to the surface. Everything in the world that we value has to be brought to the light. And that's part of God's plan. It's such a gentle undoing. We're gently brought to this place where all of our values are, are questioned and held up to the truth, where they thankfully just dissolve and slip away, and we're left with nothing but who we truly are, pure love. The Beatles knew it. Love is all you need because love is all you are. Why try to be anything else? That's what makes love the ultimate guide. Seek not within the world to find yourself. Love is not found in darkness and in death, yet it is perfectly apparent to the eyes that see and ears that hear love's voice. Today we practice making free your mind of all the laws you think you must obey, of all the limits under which you live, and all the changes that you think are part of human destiny. It's all false. It doesn't mean that we stop putting one foot in front of the other. It just means that we start to realize there are no feet. Today, we take the largest single step this course requests in your advance toward its established goal. Speaking of feet, let's take that large single step. If you achieve the faintest glimmering of what love means today, you have advanced in distance without measure and in time beyond the count of years to your release. See, this is where we let a little be a lot. I love that idea. It's one I use in the yoga practice all the time. Let a little be a lot. Let us together then be glad to give some time to God today and understand there is no better use for time than this. For 15 minutes twice a day, escape from every law in which you now believe. Right? And we're coming up on 15 minutes right now, I think. So there's the first one. Open your mind and rest. Perfection not required. Just open your mind and rest. And maybe you're at this place in the practice right now where, on the bolster or not, your arms are out in this T shape and your head is resting, your eyes are closed, and your heart and mind are wide open. The world that seems to hold you prisoner can be escaped by anyone who does not hold it dear. We just stop holding the world so close. Withdraw all value you have placed upon its meager offerings and senseless gifts, and let the gift of God replace them all. And what is the gift of God but love itself? Call to your Father, certain that his voice will answer. He himself has promised this, and he himself will place a spark of truth within your mind wherever you give up a false belief, a dark illusion of your own reality and what love means. He will shine through your idle thoughts today and help you understand the truth of love. In loving gentleness, he will abide with you, and you will abide with you as you allow his voice to teach love's meaning to your clean and open mind. And he will bless the lesson with his love. How long does it take us to clean and open the mind? Only an instant. But for many of us, it seems to be a bit of a process. It does not have to be an arduous one. It starts with a prayer. That's how this paragraph opens up. Call to your Father, certain his voice will answer. What's the simplest, most direct prayer? One word. The Beatles had a song about it too, titled Help. Help. And then wait and trust and listen. Let the love come through. It's the still, quiet voice. We may not hear with our ears, we may not hear the voice speak to us right away. So we start to look for the signs and symbols. You start to let the answer come through in all kinds of ways. We're just completely open. Maybe it's the next person you bump into. Could be a family member. It's somebody just says something a little bit different. Like, oh, there's the answer. That's the answer I was looking for. Maybe you turn on the television, it comes through in a movie. It's just everything starts to reorganize to teach us who we are. This is a beautiful line. Paragraph 11. The world in infancy is newly born, and we will watch it grow in health and strength to shed its blessing upon all who come to learn to cast aside the world they thought was made in hate, to be love's enemy. Now are they all made free along with us. Now are they all our brothers in love. Paragraph 12. We will remember them, our brothers, throughout the day because we cannot leave a part of us outside our love if we would know ourselves. At least 3 times an hour, think of one who makes the journey with you and who came to learn what you must learn. And as he or she comes to mind, give him this message from yourself. I bless you, brother, with the love of God, which I would share with you. For I would learn the joyous lesson that there is no love but God's, and yours and mine and everyone's. Yeah, so there we are. We're brought full circle back to the all-inclusive nature of love. We cannot leave a brother out. They may try to leave us out, but we will not leave them out. We hold them in the same love and light. And this is a deep practice. There are some lessons who ask us to think of the brother we may resent the most. These are our brothers and sisters who really just represent unfinished business. The minute we have a grievance about another is the moment that we can ask for help and take another perspective and say, wait a minute, this is just a part of my mind that's resisting the healing. And what do we know from the Star Trek movie? Resistance is futile. It's always futile. So if I know resistance is futile, I can begin to dissolve it, do the gentle work. We heal together or not at all. I bless you, brother, with the love of God, which I would share with you. For I would learn the joyous lesson that there is no love but God's, and yours and mine and everyone's. One love, one truth, one peace, as a oneness joined as one. Yeah. Namaste. Lesson number 127. There is no love but God's. Thank you.